that time! Guys, when I say this, I am not hating on Colby Covington because I am a massive Colby Covington fan. This man made our UFC childhood. He entertained us more than 90% of the fighters on the current UFC roster. Probably more than 90%. But let me tell you why I have to say, Colby Covington has to retire before taking another fight if he still wants to be considered as a UFC welterweight GOAT. And the reason I say that he has to retire now before taking another fight is because if he goes out like Tony Ferguson, BJ Penn, Tyron Woodley, people are going to forget how goddamn amazing Colby Covington was. What do people say now about Tyron Woodley, who was my favorite UFC fighter, who I had to watch go on a 5-fight losing streak? They say Colby is garbage. Now he lost to Jake Paul, got knocked out. He's a meme. He went from one of the greatest welterweight fighters to a goddamn meme in a span of a couple of years because he decided to fight past his prime. And like I've said in past videos, I am sick and tired of watching our favorite UFC fighters go from being on top, being unstoppable, to just losing to up-and-comers, people who would never have sniffed their butt sack. Insert Joaquin Buckley. People are really hyping up Buckley after beating Colby Covington. Did you guys see just Colby Covington standing in that octagon, how he looked? As soon as I saw him stand there, I already knew this is not Colby Covington in his prime. This is not Colby Covington, who is the best welterweight in the world, if Usman wasn't there. And even saying that, I don't even think Usman was better than him. Usman won the first fight, and in the second fight, I had Colby winning 3-2. And with that being said, just look at Colby. Colby against Buckley, he looked like an old man. He really, really did. I was scared. It was like watching Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. It's just he wasn't mobile, and I said in one of my last videos addressing the fight, Colby versus Buckley, if Colby is past his prime, he will not have the power, the strength, the durability to take down Buckley and control him. And if he doesn't have that, he's going to get viciously beat up, which is exactly what happened. And so the people now saying that Buckley is a title contender, Chael Sonnen saying he would beat Shavkat, contend against Bilal, beat Usman, what are you guys talking about? Are we serious? Do you not see that age is the reason why Colby lost? That this guy Buckley would have never touched him if it was 4 or 5 years ago? Now, before continuing, let me just address me saying that Colby Covington needs to retire today if he still wants to be considered the welterweight GOAT. Because all of you guys will start throwing out GSP and Usman. Let me address Usman first. They're tied 1-1 in my scorecards at least. They were both the best welterweights of their generation, of their time in the UFC. They were literally like this. Usman was not better in my opinion. So to me, both of them can be considered as a UFC welterweight GOAT. Now let me address GSP. From a fighting perspective, yes, GSP was great and he can be considered a welterweight GOAT. But don't come at me saying that Colby and Usman, or Colby specifically, can't be in the GOAT talks because of GSP. They were both the best fighter of their generation. GSP had a very similar style of fighting to Colby and Usman. So there's no saying GSP was that much more dominant, he's the clear GOAT. That just doesn't work. And now specifically to GSP and his personality, I never gave a crap about GSP, not hating on this man, but he is a boring person to watch, which is why I never really got a hold of caring to watch him. He's a soft-spoken kind of, just nothing to him that draws you into wanting to really care about him more than just his fighting style and how dominant he was. So in terms of entertainment, Colby alone is far, far greater and more memorable than Usman or GSP. And now fighting-wise, I just don't see a difference. But let's be honest here. In regards to the fight with Buckley and Colby, Colby got so lucky that the doctor stopped that fight because any more time going by, Colby was just taking vicious damage, and it just, every second he continues to be in the octagon, it ruins his legacy. It makes him look like someone that was never good to begin with. You have these fighters, you have these fans saying Colby was never good, he hasn't beaten anyone in the top, blah, 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 blah. Did you guys watch the Usman-Colby rivalry? And then you dare to say he was never good? Are you guys, these are all the children, the new UFC fans who have no idea who these people used to be, how dominant, and they see an older version of them, and they talk so much shit. And that's why Colby cannot take another fight. He has to preserve his legacy. Now let me address Joaquin Buckley real quick, because I'm sure there are so many new fans, so many of these new bandwagoners who see this up-and-coming guy, and they're like, this guy's so good, look at him, 5-fight win streak. He's fought a bunch of cans to get to this win streak at welterweight. Nothing he did in the Colby fight was overly impressive. It was standard, it was basic MMA skills. The most impressive thing he did was combine a punch with a kick at the end of the combination. That is the most impressive thing he did. He had some nice body shots, but what stood out to you saying, this guy can be a champion? It's just delusion that so many people are hopping on this bandwagon now, saying he's a top contender because he beat an old Colby Covington. Do you not understand? Colby in the past would have 50-45'd him, destroyed him like he did to Robbie Lawler, Rafael dos Anjos. Are you guys thinking clearly? So in regards to Buckley, if you guys really want to push this guy and give him a top 5 fight, be my guest. But I promise you right now, this guy is getting beat, dominated, and exposed as a fraud. Not a fraud as a UFC fighter, a fraud as a top 5 or title contender. It's just not what he is, guys.